Hey, it's Denny with Why Is This True? And it's Sunday, September 30th, noon on the west coast of California. And we had a little rain, so the grapes are all harvested. There's a lot of vineyards around here, mostly Pinot and Chardonnay. There's Kaylin. She just got spayed. She's all better now. Um, and they're harvesting the pumpkins and squash on a field right across the street. And my cousin grew them here last year, back in this field behind me. So so we had a little bit of rain. I had to cover the firewood, and it's kind of partly cloudy. Nice day today, kind of warm. So it's been exciting since I was last with you guys. I got to go to Tucson, and I got to attend Brent Baum's workshop in uh, in Tucson. It was a 3-day workshop, and it's called the Holographic Memory Resolution Level 1 and Level 2 workshop. So it was 3 days. It was in a Holiday Inn near the Santa Catalina Mountains north of Tucson. It was really pretty. I mean, if you go out, like in the evening when we went out and looked at the mountains, you could see the sun behind us shining up on the mountains, and they were beautifully lit. And then the moon was coming up. The moon was just getting ready to be full on Monday. So I flew back home on Monday, and it was a great time. I think we had 7 LHP students there. 4 of them had attended the Petaluma class, so it was kind of like a reunion. And so we all kind of sat in one area. So we're like this clique, which is usually not a good idea, but we behaved. And so we got to meet in person. I got to meet some people in person that I had never met in person before. Ramona and Michael H, who lives in the area. He didn't take the class, but he took me out to dinner, and he's been a great supporter for a long time. And it was just nice. We had dinner not too far away from where the class was at, and I got to spend a good chunk of time with him, and we talked about everything. And so I'm really glad I went, and I got more out of the bargain than I was expecting, because I also met Carol Warner, um, who's been certified as an HMR practitioner for a long time. I think they said 18 years, and so she was been working with Brent for since the beginning. But anyway, she's the author of this book here, and it's called Return Dreaming and the Psychospiritual Journey. And this book is kind of a sleeper, uh, because it goes into some areas that are way beyond the title of this book. Um, so she's you know she, this book was kind of like a simultaneous threat to her life, and also I think a salvation as well. She has quite a story to tell. Her father was the CIA's attorney and wrote the charter for the CIA with I think they call it the National Security Act of 1947, which actually created that agency out of the OSS. So he is not characterized as an insider in this book, um, but he was in the thick of it, and by extension she was too, and it influenced her life in dramatic ways for continuing on. I had no idea I was going to meet this woman, and it turns out her in her profession she deals with a lot of um, what they call DID, or what we used to call multiple personality disorder, which is a feature that um, plays a large role for the mercenary army program abductees and survivors of that program. So for me, it was like, okay, the HMR workshop was the meal, and meeting Carol and getting her book. She brought the book for me, which I bought from her. Was like icing on the cake. It was dessert, and I was like, I had no idea I was going to meet somebody like this with the kind of resources and history she's got in helping people with those kind of issues, and it's all around trauma. And so. you know, I went expecting to get a Volkswagen, and I got a you know, 18 wheeler. So, and then plus she's provided to me additional contacts of people who's gone even further. I think perhaps in that kind of work as it pertains to my interests, and so I'm still waiting to develop those contacts, and I might end up even going back there in January to meet some of these people that work in this area, and you know, all for the um, you know, for the MAP issue, you know, which y'all know about already. So anyway, I'm kind of like on, you know, I'm just starting to climb that hill, so I don't really know what's in front of me yet. It's big, and then of course with what happened yesterday, now it's even bigger, and it's brought up other questions that were not in my mind when I went to Tucson, and I don't know if I had known about this beforehand whether I would have gone to Tucson. So anyway, that's I hope to explain that as we go along. So anyway, this is Carol's book, and it's pretty amazing book. Warner's work with dissociative disorders thrust her down the rabbit hole into the dark worlds of mind control, pedophilia, child sex trafficking, and Satanism at the highest levels of government. While working with a very high level mind controlled client, she herself became a target. Her life was forever changed by intrusive surveillance, gang stalking, intimidation, isolation, multiple break ins, as well as ongoing murder attempts. Warner was advised she could never be safe until she put her story out in public, hence the publication of this book. A deep faith and daily guidance from God helped her remain safe throughout, despite all the odds. Um, so it, you know, I'm still kind of digesting all this because I really didn't have any thoughts of meeting anyone like this in this trip. And she was, you know, she didn't know me from Adam, so you know, based on this kind of experience she's had for a good portion of her life, I think she's very skeptical of, you know, who's this guy who's interested in, you know, so interested in me, and you know, a lot of those kind of scenarios haven't, you know, turned out well for her. So she was, I think she was a little bit nervous about, you know, sitting down with me somewhere. She brought her friend, and we were in a public location, so I'm sure that helped. I'm sure she wouldn't have met me under any other circumstances. Um, so anyway, that was part of my trip with this workshop. Now the other thing, this is the manual that we got with the class, and it's the holographic memory resolution training manual for levels 1, levels 2, and he did address some of the issues for level 3. I can't really get into the whole thing. It's you know, he's been working on this for years and years and years, and he has a history around how this all came about that's really very interesting. But I was going to read about the HMR, and this is a summary. Hopefully, it's not too long, but I think people should know about this because trauma is one of those things that influences everyone dramatically. I think it's underestimated in terms of health issues and other problems that we're having. Trauma is everywhere. It's embedded in our society and especially the human institutions. So holographic memory resolution is an educational therapeutic process and emotional reframing technique that is categorized as body-centered, client-centered form of therapy. Based on current research on trauma induction, HMR is an educational process that helps the client to resolve the emotional impact of stress-inducing or trauma-inducing events. Understanding trauma to be an altered state of consciousness, a spontaneous state of self-hypnosis facilitated by the fight-flight function of the limbic, hypothalamic, pituitary adrenal axis. HMR is a process which assists the client in neutralizing the emotional charge of the original millisecond moment of traumatic encoding. This is a brief therapy that it preempts the need for abreactive relive of the trauma, thereby preventing re-traumatization. The object of this process is the education updating of the 95% subconscious mind, achieved by sending a self-corrective message that allows the discharge of the original effect of the encoded trauma scene. Trauma induces a protective reaction that captures and preserves physical and emotional pain, maintaining the state, termed state-dependent memory, until some indication is received that the overwhelming circumstances are resolved or other options are available. By enhancing the client's sense of safety and through creative visualization, the client can accept and utilize solutions that neutralize the charge of the externally imposed trauma. HMR is a modality which has been used effectively in the treatment of anxiety disorders, addictive and compulsive behaviors, phobias, chronic pain, migraines, sexual trauma, and many other disorders and syndromes. Stress and trauma induced an altered state of consciousness that captures and preserves both physical and emotional pain as a protective act. HMR enables the client to effectively master these statically held states of consciousness, subsequently reducing stress through the endocrine and adrenal systems and transferring support back to the immune system. There's no longer any doubt that the single greatest contribution to the weakening of our immune system, the aging process, the sabotage of our relationships, dreams, and goals, is the fact that we have present time awareness that can regress into the pain, brainwave patterns, and physiology of the past 15 to 50 times an hour. By becoming mindful about our memories, we're able instead to manifest our highest good. Research indicates that HMR induces an alpha theta brainwave state that lets the conscious mind relax, thereby preventing a relive of the original pain while raising the subconscious mind to theta, providing enhanced visual and sensory access to repressed imagery. HMR also engages the inner wisdom of the body mind and initiates a self healing and self mapping sequence that reveals the history of the problem, pattern, or illness. Done from a seated position, the process employing a verbal technique and optional nervous system support techniques along the dorsal horn of the spine at C7 enables the release of encoded pain from the nerve centers of the body, usually resulting in noticeable shifts in temperature, weight, and pain levels in the nerve centers of the body. So that's what HMR is. Hope I read that correctly. I hope it wasn't too long. So anyway, I'm at the opening of the rabbit hole. so, so it was a great workshop. I'm very glad went. I'm very glad that I met Brent. Brent and I are probably going to do a Skype interview at some point, and which reminds me I need to call him and set that up. Okay, so what else we got here? I actually did make some notes today. So the title of the live stream today is Fuerteventura, which means strong wind. And I think that's what we're seeing here. The strong wind, big change. And I attribute that mostly to Carl's announcement yesterday and inspired by my recent interview with Howard Klaus-Fehler from Germany. So hopefully you'll get a chance to see that. I posted the link on Facebook. You can see it on whyisthistrue.com. If you go to the video section, it should be the first video up there. I think we were at it for a little over an hour, and it was a Skype call, and the video wasn't that good. The audio's okay. He's not an internet guy. He's working on his barn and stuff, and he had some interesting adventures this year back in May. And the Fuerteventura is also the name of an island, but I grabbed the name because of the strong wind, because I think with the announcement from Carl yesterday, that's what the way things are going to feel right now, because it portends a great change in the whole healing paradigm that us lucky LHPers are experiencing. So I'll get to that in a minute. So Fuerteventura is an island, the Canary Islands off the coast of Africa, where Harold worked to help with the dry condition, and he described in our video how he became the student of Mother Earth. And Fuerteventura, as I mentioned, it means a strong wind, and maybe that's the theme for what's happening now in the realm of healing, and maybe that especially applies to Get Wisdom and the Lightworker Healing Protocol. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the enormity of Carl's announcement regarding the new LHP. I've been trying to explain it to people since yesterday, and I feel I'm falling short on doing the whole thing justice. My take on it is that if the active LHP practitioners, I think there's about 30 of us now, that when I say active, I mean people that are doing sessions like every day, or they've got some kind of schedule where they're doing like 6 or 7 a week, or they're habitually doing the LHP sessions for hire, for free, for whatever. They're just doing them. It's part of their life. They've incorporated it into their life in some kind of routine fashion. So that's what I mean by active. If they were to do this newer version that is going, it's going to accelerate everything, including something that Brian, one of the Get Wisdom partners, mentioned in a meeting Saturday morning, that he thinks the Get Wisdom project is going to grow by word of mouth. Supposedly creating a Madison Avenue slick internet presence that captures an audience using the typical manipulative advertising and marketing methods. Not to say that they're mutually exclusive. We probably need to do both. But I'm leaning more towards his counter to my argument about having a website that works. So one of the things that we're dealing with right now is like, we're sending people over to Get Wisdom. What's the bounce rate? What's the retention? How are we really getting people to engage there? And right now the jury's out on how well we're doing that, because we're still trying to learn about Google Analytics and all this kind of stuff. So so that so we're aware of some of the shortfalls, but we're really in need of a feedback mechanism in terms of like, how are we doing? Are we doing our job? Or is the Get Wisdom message getting out there into the larger public, etc.? So anyway, that's what that's about. So I think what Brian was trying to convey was that this could be a much more organic process that we're going to be engaged in, meaning that the divine realm is going to make us talk about this with each other, or people are going to get healed and be divinely inspired rather than somebody yammering in their ear about something. So that's more of a spiritual, organic way for Get Wisdom to grow, which is actually better than just doing a slick internet presence, so to speak. So I'm predisposed to that anyway, but I also realize the need that we have to do it in a more conventional way, because the beast built the internet. So there we are. We have to work in the beast's world, at least for now, for a while, and that's not an inaccurate term, beast. So so where am I going with this? So the divine realm is probably going to have some surprises for us, as long as we hold up our end of the bargain, which probably has a lot more to do with healing than a slick, effective website. So and of course, with this announcement from Carl yesterday about the modifications, the new LHP, which is pretty extensive. I was expecting some tweaks and twists and some additions and removals, kind of like what we had in the previous ones, but that's not what this was. This is big. This is a big change that Carl talked about yesterday, and so we're all anxious to spread the word. And I'm hearkening back to this organic method thing, and I'm thinking, well, you know what? Actions speak louder than words. And rather than trying to talk to people about Get Wisdom, I'm thinking, well, here we've got the greatest tool. If you encounter someone in your life that you really want to talk to about the Lightwork Healing Protocol, or Get Wisdom website, or what we learned on the channeling series, maybe just do an LHP session for them and be nice. and and everybody's going to find their own way around this, but that just keeps coming back to me. Actions speak louder than words, and the LHP, the protocol, the Lightworker Healing Protocol, is action. Okay, it's action. You have to do something. It's not something that you put on your mantle and then look at it and wave every once in a while. It takes a half an hour to do a session. So anyway, so how are we doing for time here? Oh, it's too late. Okay, so I'm going to try to do a truncated version of the features of the LHP. This was just announced yesterday in a webinar that we had exclusively for the Lightworker Healing Protocol trainees and practitioners. So that was the first rollout. I had heard just little bits about what he was going to roll out, but I hadn't heard what he said yesterday. That was new to me too. So I'm still trying to digest it. I was watching the comments and stuff that were coming in on the chat, and my job is to grab the questions out of there and get them over to Carl so he doesn't have to read it. And but there's comments in there that people were getting what he was talking about, and I think some were in tears because they see the impact of this. And that was just yesterday. So now we have 2 more webinars. We have a public webinar that's coming up after I get off here at the next top of the hour. So for me, it's 1 o'clock on the West Coast. And then we're going to follow up at 2 o'clock on the West Coast with the supporter webinar, where he's going to go into more of the behind the scenes kind of stuff around the LHP, the new LHP. So So this is the change in a kind of a truncated form as the way I understand it. So I may not get everything, or I may emphasize something that maybe something else should be emphasized more. But this is just what I got. The new features of the Lightwork Link protocol. Okay, there used to be 4 audio scripts. There was one for clearing people, clearing locations. Number 3 was spirit rescue, and then 4 was animals. Okay, so those are the 4 different protocols that you could do. There was an audio script that you would follow along with and make that connection between your client and the divine realm. Okay, so that was those are the 4. Well, now there's only 2. Okay, and that one protocol, is divided into 2 different approaches. Okay, but that one protocol now does people, locations, and animals and spirit rescue. Okay, that one protocol. And one protocol is designed for people who get feedback, and the other one is designed for people who don't get feedback. But they're not exclusive of each other. So, for instance, in my case, I'm not a person who gets feedback. I don't even douse. I don't get visions. I'm not psychic. I'm not that intuitive. Every once in a while, I'll pick up something, or I'll be divinely guided, or whatever. But from the perspective of doing the LHP, I'm not what you call someone who gets feedback. I just make the requests. I wait to witness. Whatever I get is what I get. I'd never hang my hat on it. But I could switch back between those 2 modalities with the idea that over time I would become more intuitive. Or for some people, they don't want to go there. They just want to do the protocol. They don't get feedback, and they want to do the protocol. So that's one version. The other version is for the people who get the feedback, like how many entity attachments are there, etc. That kind of thing. What are the names? Stuff that you can get answers to intuitively. So that's one of the main changes right now. And then another change is about portals on Earth. And this is not so much a redefinition of portals, but an explanation of additional locations and uses and inclusion to the protocol that shuts a door that was not addressed in an earlier version. And this is creating huge changes because Carl's has tested this a little bit with his clients, and he talked about that. A non-time-bound, repetitive, and exponential growth nature of the protocol that is set into motion, taking advantage of the divine realm's reality, which is so markedly different than our human perspective. Now, this is one where I'm still kind of like trying to get the full impact of this, but I think that's what people were. It was dawning on them, like, oh my gosh, this is a big deal. This really changes the whole game. So that was, let me read that again. Non-time-bound, repetitive, and exponential growth nature of the protocol that is set into motion, taking advantage of the divine realm's reality, which is so markedly different than our human perspective. Now, when I say that, I'm talking about like the quantum nature and the fact that the protocol is not a healing modality that takes into consideration the human experience of reality. So like we have a misconception about time. That's just part of being here on Earth. Well, the divine realm doesn't have those kinds of limitations. So the protocol is written to take advantage of the divine realm's capabilities when it comes to healing, and not constrained by our notions of healing, and one of those is time, and one of those is what the divine realm can do as a result of a request made that is specific to the exponential growth nature of what healing can do. So I hope I said that right, but anyway, that's the best I can understand it right now. And there also seems to be signals relating to this change that re-emphasize the importance of healing the perpetrators, and this especially applies to the ETs infesting humans on Earth. So that was something that Carl pointed out yesterday, that if anybody's got a predisposition to focus their LHP healing work on the ETs, which is the main perpetrators on Earth right now, that's really going to pay dividends in terms of the whole gestalt of this LHP protocol. So now, how am I doing on time here? 25. Okay, so there's even talk among our more advanced students, and they are speculating that this new version of the LHP may make other complementary healing modalities arcane and superfluous. And to say that this is a game changer is probably an extreme understatement. But proof will be from direct observation of the fruits of this work. What are the results? So pretty soon you're going to have about 30 people out there doing this new version of the protocol, and we're going to start how that compares to the earlier version. And so it's either there or it ain't. We're going to be finding out really soon. One of the things I tried to do yesterday was pin Carl down, like, okay, when is the written description, the addendum to the Lightwork Breathing Protocol manual going to be rolled out along with the new audio files that we can use? And I was teasing him. I said, "There's going to be a bunch of people standing on your front lawn tomorrow. Where is it, Carl? And it was he wouldn't pin him. He wouldn't pin down. He's got so much going on right now. It's just, I'm hoping that he gets it out tomorrow, because after that he's going to be gone for a while. Comes back for a little while. He hits the ground running. We're going to do a whole bunch of pre-recorded video work because he's leaving again on vacation. So October's just a jumble right now. So we're going to do the best we can, but hopefully he's going to have it out, because we want to start doing this. We want to start seeing what happens. And for those of us who have already been doing it for a while, I'm up to, like, I think 235 sessions as of this morning. I've been getting feedback on these, so I know that this isn't just some goofy child thing that we're doing, energy work, or I mean, I don't mean to be disparaging of other modalities, because a lot of them are very good and stuff. But this LHP, a lot of people already know that this is the real deal. So if you can make the real deal better, oh my gosh. Okay, so let's wrap it up here. Yeah. So Carl, let's see, where am I here? Okay, so Carl did have an impressive example that he shared with us about one of his clients. He, of course, did not use the client's name, but the circumstances were well described to note the difference between the use of the previous version and this new version. This is the fourth revision to the LHP for the calendar year 2018, and this is a remarkable accomplishment given all the other things Carl has done since January. So I was thinking maybe 2018, since we did the class in Petaluma, maybe we'd have 1 or 2 revisions, because he was so busy already with stuff on the website and editing and working on his book and just on and on and on. But no, this is the 4th revision for 2018 for the Lightwork Breathing Protocol. So kudos to Carl. I don't know. I guess the guy doesn't sleep. I don't know. So today's Get Wisdom webinars, for the public one, which is going to start at the top of the hour, Breakthrough to Empower Prayer and Healing Humanity. That's the title. And then for the supporters webinar, the people that send us money every month for Get Wisdom, the title of that one is Breakthrough Advance for Healing and Saving Humanity. So it's just a matter of detail and insider information and how much exposure you've had to all this whole all this work that we've been doing for the last 18 months or whatever with the channeling series and everything. If you're a newbie, it's a hard pill to swallow, because it just turns everything on your head about, like, well, what's going on Earth? There's a disclosures version and there's this version, and there's a lot of similarities, but most of the other stuff out there, in my opinion, it doesn't go far enough. It's not really an education; it's a covering. So what else do I want to talk about before we go? Oh, this is a book that Brent talked about that I'm reading, and I'm really enjoying it. And it was kind of interesting because this guy kind of cut his teeth on the whole Vietnam vet thing, and it's called "The Body Keeps the Score," and it's by Bessel van der Kolk, and it's this guy. I think this book in its original version may be about 20 years old, so this is like the 3rd version of this book over the 20 years, but it's brain, mind, and body in the healing of trauma. And I'm so sorry it's backwards. This is the new trend for YouTube, to switch everything backwards, so it reads backwards. So I guess if you get a mirror, then you can check the book out. But anyway, I'm not very far into this, but it's very well written, and it's just everything about trauma and the body and all the research, the drug therapy, all that stuff. So if you're into healing trauma, this is quite a book. And what else have we got here? I think that's it. I think I covered all my notes. I'll try to put the notes on the I guess there's a blog session on WIT on whyisthistrue.com, and if you register there, then you can read the notes. There's not gonna be too much on here really, But if you want to go back and just kind of look at what I was looking at when I was talking all about this stuff, that's where this ends up. Sometimes I do them, sometimes I don't. Lately, I haven't been doing them, but if I have a live stream where I'm talking about websites and books, no, 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 you can go back and actually check it and look it up. That's the main reason that I do the notes. So, hey, thank you everybody. It's running up on a half an hour here, and I got to go get ready for the live stream. I want to thank the donations that I've been getting. It's declined over the last month or two, and I understand. People are it's hard to make ends meet right now. But if you can donate to my GoFundMe campaign, I really would appreciate it. It's GoFundMe. Why is this true? Look up Denny Hunt. Look at my website and stuff. You can click on there and make a donation. But there's several thank yous that I have to send out still. And every once in a while, people hire me to do the Lightworker Healing Protocol. And if you want me to do a session for you, go ahead and if there's a financial hardship, contact me. We can talk about it. The prices are not written in stone. My LHP thing is on my website. You can look it up, and I post it on Facebook. Or if you just want to go me through the contact page, I'll send you all that information, and we can talk about doing a session now and doing a session with the new version and discounts or whatever. But that's really where my heart's at, is doing these sessions for people, and I do them every day whether I get paid or not, and I'm loving it. So thank you, thanks for the support. Thank you for watching today, and I hope to see you in the webinars. I love you guys. Take care. Bye bye.